So first things first, tell me your name and your position and where you're from.
I'm Anabel Ternès von Hattburg. I was born in Germany and raised there. My family is cosmopolitan. My mother comes from Romania, my father from Netherlands, and I grew up very international. I'm a psychologist, futurist, and professor, but also author and keynote speaker, and love to raise my voice for everything about how we have to deal in nowadays world for the future in a human way.
I love that. And you mentioned that you have a radio show,
Yes.
and tell me a little bit about that.
I have a radio show name is We Empower, and it started on a Women's Day 2 years ago, and sudden it went into really the biggest radio show from all of these, with 1.4 to 4 million listeners each week. It's about people who tell a bit about their life, about the ups and downs, but also what they learned from that, and also their tips, their hooks for how they live the life to the fullest. And in addition, I do street interviews, writing for different magazines, and having a small TV show where I support startups which are doing something with impact or sustainability. Because I'm a startup on my own, and I know how rare it is to get support when you want to do something at forefront, which helps the world about being a better place. And I want to support that.
Amazing. You definitely keep yourself very busy, that's for sure.
Yes, that's definitely for sure, yes.
So how did you get involved into the, Iranian movement?
I have many friends which are not talking about Iran. They said we're Persians because of the situations. They all immigrated to Germany or other countries. And to be honest, I really see Iran, I identify Irans from all over the world where I am, because these people are very fine from the culture, very polite, very special, and I really love my friends. I really love this culture, but being from an Arabian culture too, and a mixture, I feel also related to them, not only by culture, but also by heart. In addition, I found the women really, really, really brave. Because if you imagine that you stand up and you don't know if you survive the next moment by just raising a voice and fighting for hope, for freedom, for same rights than the men, I could imagine that there are many who just stay under fear, not brave enough to raise a voice. But this country is different. The women are raising the voice. They are standing up since centuries, not giving up the hope, and staying also with the language. I mean, they could have started to attacking with weapons. No, they speak another language, and they stay with the language. Isn't this brave? I mean, the people with the weapons might say this is maybe these are idiots, because only weapons dictate. But these women understood that we need a language for freedom, a language of peace, a language of democracy for the whole world. Because if we speak the language of our enemy, then we are not better than the enemy. And these women understand this, and this is so unbelievable. I really can cry thinking about this. It really, really touches me.
That's beautiful. I've never heard that before, but I love that. One of my very first jobs was in a mortgage company with Persians, so I have an affinity for Persians as well from 30 years ago.
Yeah.
But didn't really understand, the story or the culture. I was welcome into it, but on a much more surface level. So it's really fascinating to learn so much.
Especially, I mean, it will always stay in my mind. I have a friend, he lost his father staying in front of his father while his father was murdered. He was 12 years old, escaped them from the country, could build up a life on his own in Germany. But I talked to him one day and I said, do you have pictures from the past, from the free Iran you're dreaming about? And he said, yes. And he took out of his pocket in his trousers, he took a very old picture from a newspaper. And on this picture, there were women in short dresses dancing and wearing some jewelry, and men just comforting the women. And while he was unfolding the small paper, his tears dropped on this paper. And from this man who's 2 meters something, and I saw his face and it was shaking him. And I thought, yes, it's good to have these pictures because we learn from these pictures, we learn from the stories. These stories can fill us with hope and can give us the power, not the numbers. Yes, the numbers are shocking, and yes, the numbers has to be pointed out. But it's the stories of hope which let us fight for a better life, not against something. We have to fight for a future, for peace, for democracy, not against. Because putting our energy against something, there's no energy left for something positive, right?
That's excellent advice. Excellent advice. What would you tell to women around the world who are interested in what's happening to the women in Iran and want to get more involved or want to know how they can use their voice? What would you suggest they do?
First of all, they should get informed, really informed. Don't talk something they just heard from, but get really informed. Second, they should find their own story about this, which they can tell to other people. Stories which touches you, give you hope, and move you. And third, they should think where they can start. Maybe they support in movements, maybe they support in campaigns, maybe they stand up where the strikes are and the people stand there and shout and be part of this crowd to shout. Maybe they should also be the ones which support the women who lost their child, their mother, their aunt, their father, their brother, or the fiancé or their husband. There are many of them who stand up still, tough, and overcome their tears and the motivation to do something for the better, for the future, maybe also of the others.
Amazing. And if you had one final message for the women of Iran and all the women that you've met, what would that be?
Never stop. Never stop thinking the things you do. Never stop doing the things you do. Never stop talking about the things you do. And talking, doing, feeling to as much people as you can, which as much power as you can to involve them, to get them inspired in the things you do and engage them being part of the movement you started.
I love that because I am also very inspired by the women from Iran, and they give me great hope.
It is, I mean, this guy I told you about, this guy with this thing he unfolded. His mother saw his father getting murdered, and his mother lives in Iran in an area where she's not wearing a scarf, but she is behaving like there is no punishing Iran. She's really hiding the reality. This is so weird. He showed me pictures from her just dancing and doing, and I said, how can she do? I mean, with this past where her husband was murdered, I mean, they cut his head in front of her, and while she was sexually tortured by many men, she survived this. But I don't understand this. It is that, and we need more of these voices which are really moving instead of shock frosted.
Well, I think that's a global problem right now. There's a lot of people they can't handle the truth. They can't handle the reality of it. And I don't understand any of it, to be honest. But
I mean, I was also totally shocked. I mean, I'm a curator of Plan, and I wasn't. I stepped out of it. Because they always say something we're doing for the girls and women in Afghanistan and so on. And I think you remember this, Boko Haram. Mm-hmm. They often do showcases, and many of the showcases aren't published. Why? Because they want to hinder them to do this more, because they say if you publish it, then they do it more. But I mean, why is not more happening? And then they show these pictures of these 3 women where they cut their ears. What is this? And then I said, what are you doing here as a plan? What are you doing than just showing the numbers? I mean, why can't Miseria, Caritas, Plan, all these big organizations come together? Only if we are a lot, then things will change. But they don't do. They think about the money they get from the customers, so no, we have to stand alone. This is more important to you than the human rights, yes? Yes, it is. They're all in their boxes. And finally, when I said, okay, I will step out of this because of that. And then they said, yes, it's maybe better because we look also now more for people which are paying than for people which are activating. I said, is this really your truth? this is this is really insane. I said, okay, then it's the right moment to stepping out of this because I don't want to have show my face for an organization like this, where the competitor and getting the money is more important than having people which are engaged for the right thing. And
that seems to be the way of now. But I also feel like it's crumbling, and I
Yes.
think people are really understanding,
yes,
where their own tax dollars are going
I
towards.
completely
and,
with you
know,
in every case, no? Because, for example, taking also COVID, I mean, now the people start understanding what was this about? What did the politicians do with them? What they took away as a right from them and things like this, right?
It was the beginning of the cracks in the foundation for a lot of people
Yes.
that have been just skating by. They haven't really been disturbed. They've gotten what they wanted, and then that kind of shook people's reality. Like, oh wait, maybe my government doesn't have my best interest at hand.
Yes, exactly.
A lot of people already know that. Obviously, Black and brown people in the United States are keenly aware of the government not being their ally,
Yeah.
but a lot of other people are really waking up, and it's painful for them. But
It is
it's
totally painful.
necessary.
It is necessary. I'm completely with you. How many people I see which I just always follow the route of the politicians, now saying, oops, maybe it wasn't good. How many said, for example, of friends of mine, said, okay, my 10 years old kid has to be vaccinated because otherwise it's bullied by other people. What is this for a reason? I mean, do you know what are you doing to your kid?
Nobody knows.
Yes,
Nobody knows.
exactly.
So, on one last note before we go, what would be one piece of advice you would give women who are resonating with what you're saying and they want to do better and they want to be involved in something? Where should they start?
First of all, they should know that they are not alone. Second, from that, they should go and find other allies, male and female. Go together. Don't see competition first, see collaboration first. And third, they should walk. They shouldn't just talk, they should walk. Because I hate if people making the best theories, having the greatest ideas about things, writing the best stories, but the really best story is your life. And if you don't write the story by walking and just by talking, then you will never reach a goal. And in the end, you will be sorry for that you missed the time where you could do something. Go, start, be brave.
Be brave indeed. I love that. Thank you for your time.
Produced by Heartcast Media.